Hey there folks, John here with ThruMyLens, and today I'm coming to you with another camera-related video. Today I'm doing my long-term review on this. This is the Fujifilm X100VI. This camera has grown to mythical, legendary proportions of popularity. It's only been in the last couple of months that I'm starting to see people reporting that it can be found on shelves at certain places, not everywhere, but for the first year and a half that it was out, you couldn't get it. I've had it for about a year, so I've taken about 3,500 photos with it, which blows me away. So I feel like I've got a really good handle on the camera and can talk about the pros and cons of this camera. But before I do, let me just add that this video is intended to be a supplement to the written photo review that can be found on ThruMyLens. There's actually two articles. There's the written photo review that I did when I got the camera initially, and then there's my long-term review that I just published this week on the website as well. And I do also have another article that I'll talk about that can help with accessories. Okay, so I initially purchased this camera for travel, and I've done a lot of travel in the last year. The first trip I took it on was to Miami, and I've taken it to Paris, London, Stuttgart, Munich, New York, and done a lot of shooting with it locally here where I live in Ohio as well. And I really do just love this camera. It's been, it's really come to be known as a photographer's camera. I wouldn't call this a good entry-level or beginner's camera. That's because to really be able to utilize this camera, you have to know something about photography. You have to understand the exposure triangle. You have to understand the aperture, ISO, shutter speed, and the interrelationships between those. And if you do, if you have a good eye for composition, you can get magic out of this camera with the image quality. It really is amazing. It really, the results that I get from it don't seem like it's a crop sensor camera. All Fujifilm cameras are crop sensor cameras, if you're unaware. I'm not going to go real spec heavy into this review. I've done some other, again, reviews that I've linked to in the description box of the video, as well as a video, but again, the 40 megapixel sensor really does seem plenty for this camera. It's kind of become in vogue or fashionable for cameras like this, point and shoot cameras, if you will, to have these different crop modes. So it feels like you're getting different lens focal lengths out of a fixed lens like this camera. It has a fixed 35mm equivalent f2.0 lens. Certainly you can crop in on that quite a bit with a 40 megapixel camera, but a lot of cameras these days, may start like the Q3, for example. It's, I believe, a 28mm natively, but it has controls where you can switch to 35mm or 50mm, and you're just cropping in on the sensor. And even though it doesn't have those modes on this camera, you can do that in post if you want. So 40 megapixels is plenty. A lot of photographers, who do use this camera, who do use other professional gear for, their day job or what they use professionally, have picked these up to shoot with for themselves when they want to go out for fun, when they want to just take pictures of their family, or when they travel like myself, because it is such a small package to be able to, when you're so used to schlepping around a backpack full of camera gear and have one or two camera bodies on you with lenses. It's such a freeing experience to just have this with you, because this is really all you need. I've done, again, several trips, photography-related trips, where I've gone to foreign countries, cities, and I've brought this along and been very happy. I call this the 80% solution because you can probably get about 80% of what you need from this camera. I like to bring an old Canon G7X with me because it has a zoom lens that's from 20 to, I believe, 100 or maybe 105, somewhere in there. So it can get some focal lengths that this can't. So that's kind of handy, but really, even if you just had a cell phone with you with this, you'll probably be able to capture about anything you would want to. You're just going to be able to have so much flexibility with this camera when you use it. I really do just enjoy sometimes just going out with this camera. Some photographers really do like the Fujifilm film simulations, and they'll shoot just in JPEG mode. They'll pick a film simulation and shoot, in that particular film simulation. That's not me. I always shoot in RAW. I don't shoot JPEG in RAW. I just shoot RAW. And I prefer to get back home and look at the images and maybe play with some of the film simulations. There's, a handful that I use, 3 or 4. I'll show the ones that I use on the screen. But I like to pick the film simulation mode that enhances the image based on the context of the image and how it's lit, the surrounding scene. So I like to pick the best film simulation, but again, I don't use that many. Most of the time I'm just trying to match the color profile to what comes out of my camera, or my Canon cameras, which is really easy because a lot of times I'm doing articles where I want all the images to look like they came out of the same camera. But the colors on this camera are just fantastic. I really do enjoy the controls of the camera. It's kind of a love-hate relationship because in some cases, just trying to get something simple done. I use a thumb grip, as you can see here, and sometimes I have to move it out of the way. The one that I have does flip out of the way. So, I do enjoy it. It feels like more of a manual process, and in some cases that's enjoyable. It seems like it's a film camera. You kind of have that old school vintage look, obviously, to the camera, and using it, you can use it, with all the controls, using it manually, adjusting things the way you want to. It kind of gives you the feel of you're shooting on an old school vintage camera. So I do like that. A lot of what people like about it is the experience that you get. It's the vibe. And it really is neat. Now, a lot of people will ask me if I think the Fujifilm X100VI is a professional level camera, a professional tool. And my answer is no. And I talk about this a lot in my written photo review, but I'll hit some of the high points as to why I don't believe this is a professional tool. And one of the big things that I would point to is the EVF. The electronic viewfinder on this camera is okay. It's not great. It's not like there are things that you can't accomplish because the EVF is lacking. It's just that when I use my professional cameras like my Canon R5 Mark II or even my R6 Mark II, the EVF just seems so bigger and so much more clear that when I go to this camera, it's always a bit of a letdown and a disappointment, and I can see where it's not as good. So in my opinion, that's an area that can be improved. The autofocus also is a big area where this camera is going to fall short of many of the true professional systems out there. For how I use it, the autofocus doesn't bother me too much, but it does feel like it's 2-3 generations behind what you get with other professional systems like Canon, Sony, and Nikon. The other thing that I would point to is the menu system on this camera. Now, on the plus side, there is such a finite, discrete level of control that you can get within the menu systems. There are so many customizable settings to be able to get what you want out of this camera, and I think that's great, but it is not intuitive, which, again, not a great beginner camera. I will confess that when I bought the camera, I had to go through a couple of YouTube tutorials just to do a first-time setup and to get the camera set up the way I would want it. What's nice is you don't have to go into the menu system very often. There's a lot of customizable buttons on the camera, front and back, that you can custom set to be able to do some, a lot of the things that you would normally have to go into the menu system on a lot of cameras. For example, the camera does have an internal ND filter. It's one of my favorite features of the camera, and I've got this button set right here such that I can just toggle the internal ND filter on and off with this switch. I don't have to go into the menu and try to figure out where it is, so that's great. Those are probably the biggest areas of why I wouldn't call this a professional tool, and quite honestly, I don't want this to be a professional camera. Again, myself and other pro photographers really like this as a fun camera, as a camera that they can go out. Whenever I pick this up, the same thing pops in my head. Easy breezy lemon squeezy. This camera is just so light and easy to use. But again, if you know what you're doing, you can really get magic out of it. It punches so high above its weight class in terms of the image quality that you can get out of it. Really, since this has come out, there have been some other competitors. I really think that this camera is the class leader for fixed lens, what I'll call point and shoot cameras. Of course, Leica with the Q series has long been a camera system that others compare to the X100 series, the Q3 being the latest one. And they're somewhat comparable, but the price is so different. A lot of people think that this is a luxury, expensive camera, and it was originally about $1,600. I know it's gone up because of tariffs. By how much, I don't know, maybe $100 or so. But at even $2,000, I think this is a good value, quite honestly, for what you get. When you look at $6,000 plus for a Leica Q3, the recently released Sony, I think it's RX1 R2 or something like that. I'll show the name on the screen. I wrote about it on ThruMyLens. That camera is, hideously expensive, and they really didn't improve much over the previous generation. They didn't change a whole lot over the previous generation. I wouldn't even begin to consider that. Fuji itself, they make one of their quote-unquote medium format cameras. They released this year a fixed lens version of their medium format camera, and I wrote about it. I played a little bit with it at the Build Expo, and great camera, but again, the price is so different. This actually has a faster lens. You can get I think better background separation with it. That medium format fixed lens camera just really doesn't appeal to me beyond it is pretty neat, but I think this camera really does blow the competition away. Again, do check out my other articles. As I mentioned, I've got an article about recommended accessories for the camera. You can see some of them on it. I did buy an accessory shutter release for it, and because I liked a red button. One of the things I'd recommend is if you go that route, I would recommend picking up some red Loctite and Loctiting that in there. The red will allow you to remove it later if you want to, but without any Loctite, the threads are pretty shallow on these accessory shutter release buttons. So when they back out, they don't have to back out far before they drop off and lose them. I dropped it like 3 or 4 times. Fortunately, I didn't lose it, but that happened to me 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, enough is enough. Let me get some Loctite, and I've been so happy that I did that because it's just something I don't have to worry about anymore. The other thing I would mention is that I'm not a big fan of Peak Design, but I do have their Peak Design anchors for using a neck strap or a wrist strap with the camera. I've tried other systems. One of the things that I don't like about the camera is that these little loops that are built into the sides. Most strap systems that are functional with this kind of a camera have those keyring loops, what I call keyring loops, that you have to destroy your thumbnails to try to get get that onto the camera and then hook something into that. And I've tried other systems that just didn't work out well. The Peak Design system does have a nice tool that it comes with so that you don't wreck your thumbnails, to be able to get it on and through the loops. And then, this is a really secure but also easy to attach and detach system with their little disc anchors here. So highly recommend that. And there's just a ton of different strap options out there for the Peak Design system. You may be able to see I do have a screen protector on the camera. I think that's, when you buy the camera, you place your order immediately, order a screen protector, because unlike a lot of other cameras, you can't flip the screen around to protect it. That the screen is always visible, so it's always there to be scratched. So again, really recommend a screen protector. And again, I think putting on a thumb grip is a really good idea. The one I have is a little pricier because it's hinged, and it allows you to flip it out so that you can get to some of the controls, but that's a really handy function. But again, this camera lives up to the hype. Can't recommend it enough. I think this is probably going to go down in history as one of the top 5, maybe 10 cameras ever. Probably the best-selling camera ever in terms of numbers sold. So, again, it's marvelous. I don't know how they're going to improve it without substantially changing either the form factor or the lens. And I just think people are going to want this camera 10 years from now. I think people are going to be talking about the Fujifilm X100VI. Well, there you have it. There's my long-term review of the Fujifilm X100VI. Please do check out the long-term written photo review and my original photo review on the camera. And I do have, again, an article on recommended accessories that can be found on ThruMyLens. Take care. God bless. We'll see you in the next one.
I hope you've enjoyed this production from the ThruMyLens YouTube channel. If you did, please click on the like button and do share the video on social media. If you'd like to see more content like it, please do subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and do check out ThruMyLens at www.thrumylens.org.